Hey everyone, man, I am so excited that you're here to launch this brand new series with us. If you hang out with us these next few weeks, here's what I believe is going to happen. I think you're going to see how this could be the best year of your life so far. I think you're going to hear things you've never heard. You're going to be challenged in ways that you never have. And if you put what you hear into practice, I truly believe that you are going to stand out in your schools and on your teams and to everyone around you as someone who is just totally crushing it. That's what this series is all about. How to be sure that you are crushing it in your life. And to guide us, we are going to look at a book in the Bible called Proverbs. It's a book full of wisdom from God for our everyday lives. And guys, if you want to know the secret to absolutely crushing it at life, here it is. You ready? Take notes. Get all the godly wisdom you possibly can and live it out. That's it. That's the big secret, and that's where we're going these next few weeks. But to kick things off, can I ask you a question? How many of you out there have ever gotten better at something because someone has coached you to be better at that thing? Maybe it's an instrument, it could be a sport, or even a subject in school. Whatever it is, if that's you, would you just raise your hand? Okay, good. I was afraid I might have been the only one. But no, there's a bunch of us out there. And one instance that kind of comes to mind for me was playing Little League Baseball. And I have my bat here because I had to spend a lot of time getting better at hitting. Man, I went through this stretch where no matter what I did, how I stood, or how I held the bat, I just simply could not get a hit. But I'm sure none of you can relate to striking out a whole bunch and not being able to get hit, right? You're all studs. But for me, it was just a really long slump. I kept going to the plate, taking my hacks with virtually no success. But one day, my coach pulled me aside after batting practice, and he shared some insight that I never realized. He said, Adam, every time you swing, you're pulling your head way off the ball. You got to stay in there, keep your head down, and watch the ball all the way in so you can see it better. Well, the next time I got up to bat, I took my stance, I swung, and boy, I missed real bad. But almost immediately, I realized something. I'm staring down the third baseline. I hadn't made the adjustment that my coach had told me to make. So I tried to remember his words, to stay in there, keep my head down when I swing so I could see the ball better. Well, that next pitch, I determined ahead of time, I'm not going to swing. I'm just going to watch it all the way into the catcher's mitt. And I'm going to think about how my coach told me to swing. Well, lucky for me, the next pitch was a little bit off the plate, so the umpire called it a ball. But as that next pitch came my way, I just had this confidence, like I actually knew what to do. And I watched it come in and I saw the ball smash off the barrel of the bat and sail in between the shortstop and the third baseman and land softly and safely on the fresh cut green left field grass. A solid base hit. And let me tell you something, I would take it after the slump that I had been in. See, I knew that things weren't exactly going how I wanted them to go, but I couldn't exactly put my finger on why. It took a coach sharing his insights from his wisdom, his experience, and his observations for me to actually turn a corner and be able to get a hit. And I had to trust my coach's wisdom, then put his words into practice. And maybe a bunch of you out there have a similar story about how somebody coached you and it actually made a difference in the results. It takes someone who cares enough about you that they're willing to guide you. But at the same time, you have to be willing to trust that they actually do care and they want you to be the very best that you can be. And while this approach is really helpful on the field or in the classroom, I believe that the book of Proverbs in the Bible, it shows us how we can actually crush it in our lives. Not just in one aspect or another, but in every part of our lives. Guys, if you want to crush it this year, let me show you where it all starts. Take a look at these two verses from the book of Proverbs, chapter 3, and verses 5 and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight. I want to read that one more time, but this time I want everyone on every campus to read it along with me. Can we try it together? Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight. Guys, that's it. That's the secret. It all starts with trusting God. Like a great coach, God has wisdom and insight that he shares to make us better at life. When we trust him, we listen to his words, then we put them into practice, guys, we begin to experience what it really looks like to crush it. But we have another option too. We can just keep doing things our own way. In the book of Proverbs, that verse, it calls that leaning on our own understanding. And do you know where that leads us? Well, for me, when I was playing baseball, it led me to a bunch of strikeouts because I was just doing what I already understood how to do, and the results just weren't there. It took a coach speaking to me trusting that and implementing those words for me to stop missing the ball. And I bet if we're honest with ourselves, there's a lot of us out there that feel like we're kind of striking out in life, striking out with our parents, with our friends, with our attitude, with our grades, even online. Can I suggest something to you? That perhaps what's missing is the guidance of a trusted coach. You know, the book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verses 5 and 6, it simply and plainly says, don't live that way, because it's the exact opposite of living in a way that shows that we trust our ultimate coach, God. But why should any of us trust God? Why? Well, because like a great coach, he cares enough about you to actually guide you with his words. Listen to what 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 7 says. Cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you. You guys, we trust parents, teachers, coaches, friends, all because they care about us. And we can trust God too, knowing that he cares for us. And that's a great question for all of us to consider. Do I really trust God? Do I really believe that he cares about me and that he wants the absolute best for me? If not, let me just say, I'm so glad you're with us. You're giving God a chance, and know that you're always welcome with us. But let me challenge you with this. Why don't you just kind of come back these next few weeks and see if maybe, just maybe, there's something about God that is worth trusting. If you're someone who says you do trust God, let me ask you, is there one area of your life that you're struggling to submit to him? Maybe it's an attitude you get with your parents. Maybe it's a habit that you're trying to hide from everyone else. It's one thing to say you trust your coach. It's another thing entirely to actually put his words into practice. But when you do, something amazing happens. God begins to guide our lives. He begins to direct us toward the things that are going to be best for us and away from the things that could crush us. That's what this verse in Proverbs means when it says that he will make your paths straight. It means you'll get to where you want to go without all the consequences of dead ends and wrong turns and other things that might come up along the way. Guys, in other words, if you trust God, you won't strike out. You'll crush it. So, here is my challenge to every single one of you. These next few weeks are absolute, can't miss opportunities if you want to discover more of God's wisdom for your life from the book of Proverbs. Make these a priority. Get here, whatever it takes, so that you can hear wisdom from your ultimate coach that will help you crush it in your lives. But it all starts with trusting God. And when we do, we're more likely to put his words into practice. And that is the first step towards crushing it this year.